What's up, people? This is not gonna be an interesting video. It's funny. Busy background, by the way. I tried to record closer to a wall, but that shit just looks boring. So just ignore the clutter. Uh, Me and my brother, of course, moved here to LA 5-ish months ago, and we literally just got our furniture either yesterday or the day before. So a lot of the stuff still has to be put in the correct place. Like we have pots and pans all over the place. Literally behind me on this table is just a bunch of clutter. I mean, we got a fucking toaster oven that needs to be opened. Fucking tablecloth, all types of stuff we just took out of boxes just so we could throw the boxes away and have more space. Um, anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit just to, I don't know, have an outlet. Usually I journal, but I hate writing. And I guess that kind of defeats the purpose of it because you're supposed to write. I guess the idea is when you write, the speed at which you're thinking, you can only write so much. So at a certain point, you're going to get tired. And that's kind of the point, I guess. I don't know. I heard that from somebody. But anyway, I wanted to talk about being an actor because it is not an easy path. And it is not for the weak. It is not for people who jump into this thing for superficial reasons like wanting to be famous and yada yada. I feel like just the nature of the industry, especially the way it is these days, it probably weeded a lot of those people out. Because even for people like myself who genuinely just want to train and just be better at it, and who could bear the periods of slowness, it's ridiculous right now. And so, yeah, it's, I don't even know. I don't know what to say. The industry has been dead since God knows when. I mean, I can't, like, if it wasn't for, I think 2 days ago, I had an audition for something that I self-submitted for. And it was this Instagram comedian influencer who's doing like this I guess like show or something series for his social media. And he's a very talented guy, very popular. And it's just like that's the only things I'm finding these days, which is fine. I mean, I collaborated with a comedian slash influencer not too long ago on something similar. So I don't think I'm gonna be booking that because I haven't heard back. But I mean, it was a fun thing to audition for, and it wasn't even typical. It was like a voiceover, so I literally used my computer, recorded it. Of course, I edited the audio a little bit to take like the noise out. Like in this video, if I'm quiet long enough, you hear like the white noise or like the fan going, or people in the background music, that type of things. Like I edit that out just to clean it up or whatnot. But anyway, it's just been a very slow period. And I just felt really compelled to open this thing up and just talk because I've been realizing lately that a lot of my stress comes from the fact that I've never lived alone before. And even right now, I'm living with my older brother, but like most of the day on weekdays, he's at work and he comes home at night or like late afternoon. And then even after that, like days like this, he came from work and he's going to the gym. So I have the house mostly to myself. I'm here by myself. I'm responsible for taking care of myself, of course. I'm responsible for keeping clean whatever I use. I'm responsible for making sure my clothes are clean. Just things of that nature, like making food. Things that I don't really think about or I took for granted because when I lived with my parents, which is kind of embarrassing for like 24 years, I didn't even really know how to cook basic things because my mom was always making stuff. So like I would just be like, "What's for dinner? What's in the house?" And I would kind of mix around certain things like that. At most, if I went shopping for like my own things, because even when I worked, I would just grab microwavable things. Like I never cooked until like recently. Like I've been here almost 6 months and I'm like okay at cooking now. It's embarrassing to say, but I mean, I guess that's what adulting is. I'm 26 years old and I'm just learning how to be an adult, which is interesting. But yeah, that idea of living on your own and moving out from your parents' house, it's interesting because that's what I'm doing right now. But when like I actually did it, when I went with my brother on this road trip to help him move to LA, it wasn't like I came here being like I'm gonna be living on my own. It wasn't that at all. Not even like I'm gonna be staying with him. I was gonna be here for a month max. And then of course things just kind of happened over time. I started to like the city a little bit, and I was just like, well, if I'm gonna pursue acting, I have the ability to just stay here for a few months. I don't have a job. I don't have responsibilities to go back to. Like little things. Like it's gonna suck. I'm not gonna see my pets. I'm not, I'm gonna be spending a lot of time away from family, like close family at home. I won't be seeing my grandmother as often. Things like that. But even my grandmother, like a few years ago, she was in Somalia and she stayed there for a few years. So like, it's just like I had this opportunity to be on my own for the first time in my life, and then also just like I also always just wanted to try acting in LA, and so that was kind of like at the underbelly of all of that, if that's even a thing. And I was just like, I'm gonna give myself 6 months to be here. Fast forward, it's 6 months basically. I think like in a week or so, it's gonna be 6 months on the dot, and I'm probably gonna be here till the end of the year, and it's July, and it feels weird. So if anybody has any advice on how to adjust for somebody who's just dealing with all this for the first time, like I find myself being emotional at random moments, find myself depressed most days, stressed out. Funny enough, the thing that sucks about living on your own, at least I live with my brother. I don't have to worry about financial side of things, right now. He pays the bills and stuff for this place, thanks to the job that he has, which, I sound like I'm leeching, which I am completely, and I don't apologize. But, you know, I want to help out. A huge part of me wants to help him out. I feel like a huge burden, you know, and I'm like actively searching for jobs ever since I've been here, y'all, and I decided I was going to stay here. I've been looking for jobs, and I got lucky a couple months into being here. I found a job. You might have seen it in a couple of my videos, maybe, where I'm wearing a t-shirt, maybe on Instagram or something, that says like support LAFD, and that was a canvassing job. It was petitioning to help the firefighters get more funding. So like I'd be out on the street just like getting people to sign petitions. I got fired from that job, but the idea was I worked that job for 2 weeks to just try to get as much money as I could, and it was a lot of hours just being out, sweating, trying to like working 8 9 hour shifts, just being out, like sweating in the summer heat, just standing on your feet all day. And it was kind of like it could be a lax job if you're really good at what you did, but just human nature. People don't like talking to you. And I'm not gonna lie, if you're not a girl, people aren't really gonna try to even entertain listening to you, like most dudes. Or like if you're a dude like me who kind of can come off a little like looking mean or something, people can look at you and kind of judge you. Or like sometimes I've had people think I was gonna harass them, even though I have a clipboard. Like I'm doing a job clearly. Hell, I could have been working for AT&T, and these people are just like, ugh, you know. But anyway, I worked that job for a couple weeks. I was getting paid like $27 an hour, which is insane. But for LA, it was like, because this city is ridiculous. I'm glad I don't live in New York. I would be dead. But yeah, man, this place is not. I mean, dude, like living alone. People don't tell you this, but like you have so much free will. Like if I wanted to, and I have the means, like I have a couple bucks in my pocket, like I have like $100 or so just cash I could use, which I gotta be very, very fucking careful. I've been bad with finances, and I'm broke. Like there's a reason partially why I'm broke, because I'm stupid sometimes with the way I spend money, and I've tried my best to be very mindful about it, because impulse shopping is a real thing, especially for somebody with ADHD. And excuse the music, I don't know what. Occasionally, our lovely neighbors will have some sort of quinceañera or something. Like there's always a mariachi band across the street, no matter where I live in LA. But that just threw me off. But like I've been trying to be more careful with my spending. And so yeah, like I was saying, like free will. I could buy, like, I've been seeing reels on Instagram just like the most delicious fucking LA. I saw a reel today of the crunchiest tacos in LA. It's sushi tacos. fucking delicious that sounds? You know, like, I have the means to buy that right now. Is it smart to spend $10 on one taco? Fuck no. But is that gonna stop me? Some days it probably won't. That's crazy to say. You know, like, I used to not have free will like this, man. Like, that's crazy. But you really got to be smart with, like, if I wanted to, I could buy a pint of ice cream, sit right here and eat it, bro. Like, literally, it's so easy to just, like, go off track and just be a horrible slob of myself. And I'm trying my hardest. And some days it's really hard. But I'm pushing through. That's just something I'm struggling with living alone. But yeah, I don't even know why I opened this up. And honestly, with all the music playing in the background, I don't even know if you're going to be able to hear me. You probably hear the kids yelling in the background. For some reason, in this hotel, there's a pool. Or not hotel, apartment. There's a pool and a hot tub, which we've had at other places we've stayed at. But this place, it's primarily like small families or like mom, dad, kind of low income, couple of kids. And all of these kids have swimming clothes and they're in there. It's summer. Like every day is swimming day. You know, they're there from like as soon as the sun comes up till way after the sun goes down. So like the elevators will be soaking wet with water. And most of the day you'll just hear yelling. Like when they're like drying off and they're supposed to be taking showers and stuff, they'll be running around the hallways just making a noise. So it's something to adjust to, man. But once again, LA shit ain't cheap. You know, even with a job that pays like $85,000 a year, like we're having to kind of choose to live in these places because that's the only thing we have to choose. Cost effective. Like if I lived in Atlanta with this pay, I'd be able to live basically like in luxurious places. Here, nah, not even close. It's between this and MacArthur Park. And if you know anything about that, this over that any day. But yeah, anyways, before I went on that tangent, I was just talking about being an actor. I don't know, man. I feel like these videos would maybe take off if I become successful. You know, I kind of don't know what I'm doing with my life these days. And I feel like a huge failure. Maybe I am. You know? Ugh. That sucks. I used to think at one point getting views on Instagram, you know, like building an audience, which I kind of am these days. I've had several videos hit 100,000 views, which is nice. You know, just making BTS related memes and stuff. I'm a BTS fan. I don't know if y'all know. And I've been a fan for a long time, and I think a lot of fans probably know of me. So, generally, when I post about BTS, I get quite a lot of attention sometimes. And I'm proud of that. But man, in every other aspect of my life, I feel like a failure. Like, I can't believe I decided I was going to be an actor in 2021. I was going to drop out of college. I'm glad I got my associate's degree, at the very least. And my mom pushed me to get that. Because, man, the amount of disappointment I face, you know, every day, it's not even rejection, y'all. Why am I getting emotional? It's not even rejection. I'm not even afraid of dealing with rejection, people. Like, you know, you do an audition, right? And they say, as an actor, don't fear rejection. I'm not afraid of rejection. I'll go in there and embarrass myself. I don't care. You know, like at these days, I do auditions for myself. Like if I do an audition, I get a self-tape. My heart rate goes up, not because I'm thinking of the possibility of booking it, even if it's a big project. You know, I'm not thinking about, man, this is an opportunity to book this. I'm thinking from the opportunity of like, dude, I get an opportunity to do the one thing that makes me happy right now. Like the only reason that I'm like not going crazy these days. Like I have an opportunity to play pretend, as crazy as that sounds. You know, I want to do this for a living, but I get an opportunity to show myself, you know, if I've gotten better. to portray a character in my way, on my terms. There's no casting director in the audition room with me. I do what I want with that character, and I give it to them. And sure, if they give me notes, I take it, you know. Um, but dude, like I'm not even worried about that. It's the fact that I'm not even getting that, you know. And I know it's not my fault. I know it's an industry thing. I know I'm not the only one dealing with it. But like it's like at a certain point you can't blame me for thinking like, people say, I don't know, it's like take all the opportunities that you're getting, right, and do what you can with them, you know or some shit. Like I don't know, bro. It's like you at a certain point it's not an issue of like I'm not booking anything. I'm not mad at myself in that sense. I'm not even getting opportunities to do that. I'm not getting opportunities to audition, and that's supposed to be the bare minimum. If I'm not even able to audition, then what the fuck's the point, you know? And so I started creating my own things, right? Started creating my own scripts. Started writing. I had this idea one day while I was working at U-Haul for a funny story. I remember I was talking to my sister about something, and this idea came up about, the just we go to Chick-fil-A sometimes after work, or like for lunch when we used to work at U-Haul, and like, sometimes they mess up your order, you know, and it's like the idea of going back and just being like, can y'all fix it? Like that's something that me deeply hates for some reason. Like partially I think it's because I'm introverted, but also I just feel like I sound like a Karen, and so I made a script around that. I fleshed it out, and I was watching videos on how to make good screenplays. They said make interesting characters. I found a way to find interesting characters and explore them. I have this script that's fucking amazing. Like I can't express to y'all how proud I am of myself. Like the fact that I did this took me 3 years. It's basically been 3 years. I'm pretty sure. 3 4 years. Not 3 4. Probably honestly 2.5. But so 2 to 2.5 years, right? I was extending just for dramatic purposes, but like it took me that long to like finally have something that I'm proud of. And like there'd be nights where I would like, dude, I would have work at 6 a.m. and like I would sometimes work double shifts, and I would get off like 7 8, and then I'd be up the whole night writing. So basically, like I would have 1 hour sleep, and I go to work tired, bro. It's like all for the love of this, bro. And like now I was like in the process of developing a team, and researching like the responsibilities of producer. For a while I was stressing about money. Do I have to fundraise, crowdfund? How do I approach that? I don't have an audience. How do I reach out to people who might be able to like give us access to resources? Well, the only issue with that, it's kind of the same what is it, catch 22 of just like, like for actors you can't book a job. When you start, the best way to get experience as an actor is to be on set, but you can't be on set if you don't have experience being on set. And the only way you could get experience being on set is if you have a resume, but you can't get a resume and credits that would go on a resume if you're not working on it. It's a cycle kind of thing. It's a circular kind of thing. You're running around in circles, and it's the same thing with making money. If you don't have proof that you could create good quality projects, then it's like nobody's going to give to you because they have nothing to base their belief on you off of. So I was dealing with that. Then I did make a short film, which was nice. But then I had a falling out with the person who I made the short film with. And then I formed a team for my project, and I had somebody who was, I had it wasn't even, I've had moments where I've had people who were set to direct my project because it was so daunting to me to have to direct yourself and act. And even my acting teacher was like, I don't think that would be a great idea. Which I still agree with him to this day, but that's the direction I'm going to have to go in. Pull a Bill Hader. And even he, I think, had help on Barry. that TV show he had. Even Curry Barker, with Anything But Ghosts. I maybe he didn't have help, but I assume maybe he has help. But like for me, as somebody who's like, this is my first time doing it, it's like, and Curry Barker, by the way, guy who did Obsession. Sorry to just throw random names out there, but I don't know. I'm just like stressed, bro. All my friends who I wanted to direct this because of me, because of my fucking over communicating and stressing people the fuck out, because I'm stressing myself out, because I have all this fucking external pressure on me. I'm back at square zero, step one. I'm back at nothing. It's like all I have is a script and no team. And I don't want to make the same mistake again, y'all. They say create your own opportunities. I didn't know it would involve all this. And that's just because I put that pressure on myself to, if I'm going to create my own opportunities, it's got to be here. And it doesn't have to be. But then again, it's like I have dreams for myself to be here. And there's only one way, that I see myself getting there. So I don't know, bro. That's kind of where I'm at. If any of this rambling even made sense. That's interesting, bro. I didn't expect to get emotional. My life sucks right now. I have a lot that I should be grateful for. And then I feel like those things that I should be grateful for, I'm kind of fucking up. So I kind of feel like, do I deserve that? Maybe I'm just meant not to succeed, and at least if that's the case, I just want to know. I don't want to have to do this for another few years if I'm just never going to make it. And there's only one way to find out, and that's to keep doing it. And that's the thing that sucks, bro. That's the thing that's hard to do right now. It's just like you need that one person to believe in you. And I'm over here searching for that one person who's going to believe in me. And I don't even believe in myself. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe if I did get that one person to believe in me, would that change anything? Maybe. But I want to get back to when I used to believe in myself, bro. Those were simpler times when I was so naive and, I don't know. I mean, look, I've had moments like this in my acting career before where I've broken down. Like I remember after one acting class, I don't even know what happened. I think, I used to take this on-camera acting class, and we would have these scenes that we would do. We would get like as homework in like the middle of the week, and then we come to class and we kind of perform it. We have scene partners that were assigned, and so like first half of the class we're just kind of going over it, reading lines, and then like second half we're just all kind of taping, and we really only get like one or two shots. We get one shot to do it. You get an extra take if you're lucky. Because it's on camera class and there's like 12 people and it's only 3 hours, and you're spending on 1 hour and a half, doing all sorts of things. And then the second half of the class you're setting up camera, and then you're getting everybody in there, and then you're that type of thing. And then the teacher's talking after everybody's thing, trying to give them advice and stuff, and then telling them how to do it, and then they do it, and then it's all right, great job, sit down, let's watch the tape. It's that. And then I think I did a scene, and I guess I wasn't, it was like I was like, I think in the intermediate class. So like I took the the beginner for 8 weeks, and then I was in intermediate, and it was like somewhere halfway through that probably. And I just felt like I felt like a fake. I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't happy with my ability to perform. I knew I wasn't good. And I just really was depressed because I was like, I want to be good. I want to be able to do this thing. Like, I was doing extra work. I was being on sets. I was seeing A-listers work. And I was like, I want to do what they do. Why can't I be that good yet? I'm trying everything I can. Like, why? You know? I was paying money to take acting classes, and I hadn't found the right one yet. And, dude, I was putting myself in, like, other classes. I was going to classes with, like, 60 people in there. Like, damn near, you know, like, not 60, probably like 40 or something like that. High 40s or something. But, you know, like, the idea being I would put myself in environments that are challenging with people I don't know, and I'm a very introverted person. And, you know, like, I remember I'd be doing scenes, my hands would be shaking, my knees would be shaking, I'd be sweating. But, like, that's because this is a career path I chose to do, you know? And I wanted to be that good at it. And it was killing me inside that I wasn't that good, so I cried in the car. So fucking hard, bro. I just remember that. I don't know why. And I've had a couple of moments like that. And I feel like I've progressed so far. Like, I've gotten so incredibly better. Like, if that version of me could see the version of me now, just watch one of my audition tapes, I think that past version of me would be so fucking amazed. But here I am as me right now. And I'm just done. Can you really blame me, you know? I can. I do that all the time. Anyway, I'm just rambling, but I don't know. I do hope one day that I find success, but at the same time, success isn't going to solve my problems. Maybe monetarily, I'll feel much better about my position. I'll know that I have a steady flow of work, and that's great. That's always challenging creatively. But I also know that I have my own challenges emotionally, mentally, spiritually that I kind of have to push through, even physically. Mostly mentally and spiritually, you know. I'm not that close to God with my religion. I know I need to work on that. And I got my own struggles with certain things, and you know, I've talked about them to, you know, in length on my channel. I want to work on that, and I hope that when I do find success, that I am in a much better place with regards to those things, that I have them under control, you know? Because right now, I'm ready, talent-wise, I think, but I'm just not ready in every other sense. Success wouldn't bring true happiness, you know, and contentment. And I think I don't want to get that. I've heard celebrities say that all the time, and it's true. I mean, I've had moments that were like things that I dreamed of. Like, I remember when I was growing up, I grew up in the YouTube age, you know, I was born 2000. You know, I saw YouTube you come up, you know, and you know, I remember like watching YouTubers like Nika Higa, you know, all those Asian YouTubers, Yam Yam If, you know, all the, you know, Markipliers, PewDiePies, all those people, you know, even Comedy Shorts Gamer, KSI, I watch those guys when they're making gaming videos. And uh good times, by the way. But like, I remember like being on Vine too, and just being like, that would be a dream to have 1 million subscribers. You know, I want to be a YouTuber. Like, dude, oh my god, that used to be the thing, bro. Like, I used to dream about that. Getting that YouTube plaque was, oh my god, that used to mean so much to me. Like, I dreamt about that, like, when I was younger. Like, I think to me as a kid, that was the epitome of life. Like, that was my Oscar for some reason, growing up, you know? Like, kids having the fake WWE belts. Like, that was mine, you know? And I had a YouTube channel. I became a fan of BTS in 2014, and, you know, I didn't know being a fan of theirs and just sharing, like, my favorite BTS moments would, like, resonate with people who are also fans. I guess at the time that I was making YouTube videos in, like, late 2016, early 2017, it was a time where there weren't that many people really doing it like that. Like there's a couple of YouTubers that were coming up, a couple of channels, like a handful, but none that were really doing it like that. Like all the really main go-to compilation channels that even I used to watch for BTS were really just like inactive. Like there were channels that started in like 2014 or late 2013 and just like around 2016 kind of just like became inactive or got suspended completely because of copyright, because people used to claim false copyright things and certain copyright things used to be strict. If you like in the past, if you were using BTS music, sometimes people would get like blocked, like globally on their videos, which is crazy. Um, and I was posting videos of BTS, and my videos just like started to go viral. And like within the first month of doing a YouTube video, I got terminated, but I also hit 100,000 subscribers, and that was interesting because I got the channel back somehow. And then I hit 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, and then I think somewhere around there I got terminated again, got it back, hit a million, hit 1.5 million. Dude, like, I don't, like, and of course the only thing that sucked with all of that is YouTube was like, your channel's not eligible for a plaque. What the fuck? That hurt me for a long time because YouTube never gave me an answer on that. Like, and the thing is, like, people could say the content's not mine, it's copyrighted, which I would perfectly understand. I would hope YouTube would have told me that. But I've had friends who made compilation videos similar to me who got plaques, so I was just like, that killed me a little bit. But hey, like, nobody could take that away from me that I had that, like, I had accomplished that. Even the people who hacked my channel, or like when I got it terminated, like, nothing could take that achievement away from me. And because of that, I have a good reputation with that fandom and stuff, which is great. But all that to say, like, I've had great moments. I've been interviewed in Time Magazine, which is a dream, and BTS retweeted that article, which was freaking amazing. Like, that was like the closest moment I had to like meeting BTS, which were like the group that I was like inspired by, dudes I consider them my role models to this day. They're the reasons I'm doing acting. They're the reasons I'm not anonymous on social media these days, and I'm sure some of my friends really remember that day where I put my name out, and I was really nervous about that. But yeah, man, because people's be crazy. But yeah, all that to say, you can have those great moments happen in your life, but if you're not happy internally, none of that matters. If you're struggling with, like, I was dealing with family issues when my channel was blowing up. Like, my parents divorced literally around that time. We were moving from a different state. We were struggling financially. My grandfather was getting sick. Like, what's the word? Like, he was dying. And ended up passing away a few years after. Like my life was just like, I was moving to a new school. I had no friends. I was basically starting over from scratch. Oh my God, I was getting a job, having to find jobs. Or no, actually, I didn't for a while. Because my first job experience, funny enough, was so horrible. But because of that choice, my family was struggling. My mom was struggling. We all felt everything, And because of that, we all had each other. But, my family, we don't really talk about our emotions and stuff. So, we would keep to ourselves. I was doing YouTube to procrastinate from, life. I spent hours in my room editing videos and talking to people, but I was in pain emotionally, And yeah, I just remember achieving all these things and I guess I just took it for granted. Because part of it is like when you reach certain success, right? I'm talking like I'm famous. But like you have a certain thing like that happens to you, right? That like you've always dreamed of. And it's not something that's life-changing, right? But it is something that's like to be proud of, something that like you've accomplished a dream, And for a while I was making money, because like I had ad sponsors and stuff. Like there's a good point in time where like I had sponsorships, and yeah, Um, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but I just wasn't happy. I was struggling, and I was using YouTube to mask it. And nobody could have told that, but it's just one of those things that I had to figure out later on. And because all of that was going on, I was taking my YouTube for granted, and then I had to learn the hard way a couple times not to. Um, Anyways, I'm sorry, I'm yapping too much, but yeah, I don't know. I have hope that things may still work out. What's funny is the main thing I wanted to talk about on here was the fact that I went for a job interview today. No, not job interview. Take that back. I went to apply for a job today. My brother's been telling me about this restaurant down the street. He has experience in culinary kind of restaurant jobs. He was a chef for years, and so in me looking for jobs, he was like, there's this place out here in LA that like is like a steakhouse, and they might be hiring like dishwashers or prep cooks or servers or busboys, whatever. And I went there to ask if they were hiring after procrastinating on it for a few days, and they're like, nah. And that's kind of been the story of my life these days. Um, I had a job interview the other day for a security job that would have paid really well. Did the online interview thing. It was like a video virtual interview thing, and I went in. I drove like 10 miles out of the way for this in-person interview that they were supposed to have, and they just kind of turned me away because as soon as I went there, security job, by the way, in LA, you're supposed to have a guard card. It's not required in any other state, but in the city of LA in California, that's, and because I didn't have that, they're like, sorry, turning you away. And that sucked. Um, because I wish I had known that was the thing that I needed. Phone's ringing. Um, Prior to that, I had a job interview for something else too. It didn't work out. Just like the job market's trash, and I'm struggling financially, and I also feel like there's nothing I can do about it. But that's for another video. Anyways, pretty sure that's my mom calling me, so I'm gonna call y'all back. I'm gonna talk to y'all in the next video. Appreciate y'all for listening. If you stuck through, one day, hopefully, inshallah, I'll find success, and I hope I find it in those senses that are the most important. Not just financially, and that would be great. Just like spiritually.